Leach. He first came in through our ER and found out that he had a colon mass, and then was admitted to fourth floor. He went to our OR, and then was discharged home with an ostomy, and he came back to have his reversal in the OR, and of course was in fourth floor then. So he has had an amazing journey, amazing story, and we wanted him to come and let him tell the story to us. So.
I was hoping to be more of a question and answer type. Well, hello.
Do you want to start with what brought you to the ER that day?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Prior to coming to the ER, I was at work and hadn't been feeling good for a few days, and I hadn't been able to keep anything down, and I was throwing up, and I hadn't had any bowel movements, and for me that was out of the ordinary. I'm a pretty regular guy, but so at my wife's prompting, I came to the emergency room, which I'm glad I listened to her. But so with the ER doctor, it was a woman doctor. I can't remember her name right now. Very
Dr.
nice.
Martin.
Yes.
Dr. Martin.
She they did a CT scan, and they determined that I did have a mass in my colon, and she told me that it was likely that it was cancerous. And of course, I know you've all known someone, or maybe even experienced it yourself, but it's a real punch in the gut. You're used to hearing other people, with it, and even family members that have had it. But when the doctor looks you in the eye and says, Mr. Leach, there's a chance you have it, and so it was very surreal. But anyway, they scheduled surgery with Dr. Barnes, and they said I had an apple-sized mass in my ascending colon. They removed it, and they removed my appendix because the mass had went through the colon wall. But anyway, after the surgery, I was hospitalized, I think, for a couple of weeks, and I'm not, trying to sugarcoat it, but y'all have an amazing staff, and I'm sure you already know that, but I've never tried to keep it together here, but I was treated with so much care and compassion by all the staff, from the emergency room to the fourth floor, all the nurses, the doctors. They were so caring, and I guess maybe y'all get used to seeing, cases, some more critical than others, I'm sure, but I don't think whatever you make, that you make enough. And I told the girls on the floor, I said, if I could nominate all of you for a Daisy Award, I would, because I think you all deserve it. But that's just how they made me feel, and not just me, my wife, because like I said, she was in shock. My whole family was. But after the surgery, I had a follow-up with, I was referred to Dr. Fintel. And actually, I'd already heard good things about him, so I requested Dr. Fintel. But so I met with Dr. Fintel, and we determined the path forward as far as chemo. And so I had 8 rounds of chemotherapy, and of course, all the while with the ostomy, it was an adventure in itself, very humbling. I thought in the beginning, I can't do this. And my wife, like I say, she was my rock through it all. She changed the majority of my ostomy changes. And in the beginning, she cried, I cried. We'll never be able to get through this, but you get to a point, I guess what's that old saying, you do what you have to do. And so we learned some little tricks. The little O-rings that they send you, those are a lifesaver. As far as preventing leaks, I would recommend to anybody that has to wear one, do not try it without it. But anyway, we got to a point where, I felt like we got pretty good with it. But anyway, it was a lifestyle change. And then in October, scheduled a reversal with Dr. Barnes. And so he went in and he reworked my plumbing and put everything back where it was supposed to be. And it did very well. So I've had PET and CT scans recently, and both of them have come back clean. So I thank the Lord for that. And like I say, I had that over at Lewis Gill Medical in Salem, another amazing staff. And scheduled for a colonoscopy coming up on Monday with Dr. Barnes. And hopefully, prayerfully, everything's good there as well. But I guess if I could tell anybody, my brother, he was diagnosed before I was, my older brother Bobby, and he didn't fare so well. He had complications from the very beginning, and it was similar in some ways to my diagnosis, but in other ways it was different, and he didn't respond as well. And anyway, he passed away last June. But so I know it might sound weird, but in some ways, even as blessed as I felt to come through it all, part of me felt guilty. Because I made it and he didn't. But I would recommend to anybody, especially if there's any history in their family of colon cancer or any kind of cancer, do not put off having yourself tested and checked out. If there is a history, sooner the better, and because it could save your life. Yeah. But I thank God for all of you guys, for your staff, and I know I've said it before, but I cannot say it enough. You have some incredible people, and I'm so thankful. And my wife is too, my family. So thank you.
Sorry, you made me cry. Well, we just want to tell you how much we appreciate you for choosing us to come here to get your health care and coming today to tell your story. We want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly,
Right.
And this was a great story, and I think it can encourage so many people, to get their colonoscopy, get their checks early, and follow up. And, as you said, when you had the ostomy and you were kind of, at your end there, people have that. And, you are a great mentor for other people. They can talk to you and say, hey, I'm here, what can I do next? And so you're very exceptional. So we thank you so very much.
People were so good. We had people that I knew that had extra supplies, because in the beginning, getting things started, even, in Medline, they were really good, but there were some gaps, and but finally, after got everything straightened out, everything was showing up on a regular basis. But we knew some people, and they brought us some things, and it really helped. And so we had a chance to kind of pay it forward with some of that.
Yes, you did.
And I hope that somebody gets a lot of good use out of that.
We thank you so very much.
Well, I thank all of you. I'm not a very eloquent speaker, so and,
Awesome.
it's kind of